Hello everyone, it's restocker here coming at you with another Dota 2 video, and in this one I'll be showing you guys how to jungle with Bloodseeker, and it is a extremely efficient run. I'll be doing this in a custom lobby, so you have to keep in mind that I'm getting absolutely zero thirst bonus from this run. So if you're doing this in a actual game and you're able to get away, get away with it without being harassed, you'll actually be hitting level 6 at a faster time than what I actually get in this run. And I hit level 6 at 4 minute and 45 seconds or so on the Radiant side, and just above the 5 minute mark on the dire side. So once again, I'll be covering some of the skill choices and what you want to be leveling up at certain points in the game when the time comes. But as you can see, for now I'm chopping down specific trees here. The reason I'm cutting down these trees here is so that I can actually pull the camp with Bloodright, which is the skill that I'm going to be getting at level 2, just so I can stack that camp. And the trees I'm chopping down here for the big camp are a very specific set of trees, just so that I can get as close to the camp as possible. You can see that when I'm holding Alt, or as I tap Alt, I'm making sure that I'm outside of the spawn box there, but I'm standing just close enough so that I can deal damage to the big creep as soon as it spawns. So what you want to do is cast Blood Rage on the big creep itself and not on your hero. And the reason for that is because if you cast it on your hero, you're going to be taking significantly more damage, whereas if you cast it on the big creep, you're going to, it's essentially the same thing. You're doing as much damage as you can to the big creep, and the passive, or excuse me, the debuff from Blood Rage will wear off just about the time you're going to kill the big creep. Now here I actually cast Iron Talon on that little creep, and that's very important. It's very important that you hit level 2 so that you can cast Blood Rage into that medium camp, so you stack it. And in order to do that, you actually have to Iron Talon that little creep. Like, it's a pretty desperate thing to do, but it's something that I have to do. Once again, as you can see, the little message says cast Blood Rage on the little creep when your Iron Talon is off cooldown. The reason for that is because you want to still kill the creeps. You don't want to just be standing around waiting for your Iron Talon cooldown to come off, but at the same time, you don't have enough damage to kill the big creep in the camp because your Iron Talon is off cooldown. You just want to be focusing on the little creep, and once again, just cast Blood Rage on the opponent, on the neutrals, rather than yourself. Once you get level 2 of Blood Rage, you can start casting it on yourself, but until then, you really can't. Another thing is, you may have noticed that I was getting very low on HP, and the thing is, as you play a hero a lot, for example, I play Bloodseeker a lot, I have well over 100 games with the hero, you get very familiarized with the hero, and you can kind of push them to their limits. Once again, it's a little bit risky. If you don't see your opponents on the mini map, maybe play it a little bit safer. Don't push yourself to the maximum limit. But when you get a little bit of map awareness and a kind of a sense for the game, you will be able to understand how to push your hero. So this is the only bounty rune we take in the entire run here, and that's because it naturally spawns as we're coming to this jungle camp. It's, a 2-minute mark is when you go to the bounty rune, 2-minute marks when you start this camp, so it's pretty safe to say that you are free to take that bounty rune, but that's the only one we're going to take. We're not going to touch the offlane one. So as you can see here, I'm able to choke point jungle here because of a very specific tree that I chopped down a little bit earlier in the video, and it makes it so that only 2 of these creeps are able to hit me at a time. So once again, just being able to do stacked camps, and from this point on, you're going to be relatively healthy for the most part when you're doing this run. Another thing is you can just start casting Blood Rage on yourself because it has essentially 100% uptime, apart from the small animation that you have when you're casting it. I believe it's 9-second cooldown, last 9 seconds, or 10-second cooldown, last 10 seconds. I've played so much Bloodseeker, I should probably know. But essentially, it's 100% uptime apart from that tiny animation. So you just cast it on yourself, because now you're kind of strong enough to kill more than one creep, and you want to be making sure that you, for example, you see there, I can kill the little wolf and I can transition on to the next creep. So once again, I want to reiterate the fact that we're doing this entire jungle run without any thirst bonus. So you can see I'm actually starting to put points into thirst. If this was just a normal speed, like if this was an actual game, this is the kind of the skill build I would be going for. If I wanted to focus a little bit more on speed, I'd just max out Blood Rage and Blood Right, but that's not a really that's not a realistic thing in a game. You're probably going to have a skill build very similar to this in a game, and I kind of wanted to simulate that during the run. So this is actually the last camp that we're going to be doing on the right side of the map, and then I'll be transitioning off to the left side towards the off lane. And yeah, we're going to be hitting level 6 relatively soon when I go to the left side of the camp. Now, the thing that's very important to note is that you can see that I'm staying very healthy when I'm doing these runs. or I'm doing these camps, I should say, and I'm not overusing the courier. That's another important thing to mention is you want to make sure that you stay healthy, so that in case you do get ganked, you're not you're not going to be feeding kills, you're not under a lot of pressure, and potentially you can actually turn around to kill. So for example, maybe like a level 3 dazzle or a level 3 crystal maiden walks up to you at this point, and if you're able to hit them maybe once or twice with that 2 points of thirst, you should be able to get a return kill. Or you can also help, your off lane or your mid lane heroes that are potentially being ganked. So as you can see, we hit level 6 at just about the 4-minute 45-second mark, and now I'll be transitioning off onto the dire side. I'll be speeding up the video because a lot of the techniques that we use are similar. We stack camps, transition from one camp to the next, chop down trees, things of that nature. So anyways, I'll be jumping into the dire side, and I'll see you guys there. So for the dire side, we're going to start off by doing things that are very similar to the radiant side. We'll be just chopping down the trees behind the big camp, and once again, we're going to be waiting just outside of the spawn box. And the reason we are once again waiting on this side of the spawn box rather than on the far left is because you're significantly closer to the camp when you wait right there. You can see you'll probably end up saving about a second, maybe a second and a half while you wait on the far right of the spawn box as opposed to the far left. And having that extra second is very important because it lets you stack the medium camp, which we barely eke out. Once again, you have to keep in mind that the only big camp that's doesn't allow you to reach level 2 upon killing it is the Wild Wing camp. So if you get the Wild Wing camp, you're a bit out of luck, but it's a very small percentage considering it's only one out of the multiple different camps. I forget exactly how many big camps there are. I think there are like 5. I want to say there's 5. So yeah, it's like a 20% chance. Anyways, we're going to stack the medium camp, and you can see that I kind of create a pseudo choke point jungle here by tangoing down that one tree. And I say pseudo choke point because the medium satyrs, they hit you once and then they funnel back into the camp. So it's not a full choke point, but it does reduce the damage you take significantly. So now we've hit level 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go over here and pick up the bounty rune. Now, the thing you have to keep in mind is that we're already level 3. We don't necessarily need this bounty rune, but I like waiting around the bounty runes because it prevents the opponents, maybe the offlaner or any roaming opponent supports from picking up the bounty rune. So if your allies actually need the bounty rune, let them pick it up. It's completely fine. Because level 3 is kind of the sweet spot for Bloodseeker. When you get that 2 points of blood rage, you kind of can just start jungling, and you don't really need too many items, which is why you only use the courier one time when you're playing with Bloodseeker, because you don't really need any other items. Sure, picking up a boot or something like that is a luxury item. I would highly recommend purchasing the boot, put it on the courier, and then if your mid lane hero or maybe your safe lane allies are using the courier, you can use it after they use the courier, but you don't want to overuse the courier just for yourself. So once again, we're going to be focusing on the left side of the map where it has 3 camps because the right side only has 2. We're going to make sure we clear out these camps one more time, and then we'll finally be heading on over to the right side of the map to clear out the other camps. So it's very important that you're able to kind of stack camps and clear camps before every odd minute, since the 7.0 patch, the camp spawn every odd minute on the first minute, third minute, fifth minute, etc. So you want to make sure that you're stacking camps as they're about to reach the odd minute, or if you can, just straight up clearing out the camps. So as you can see, since we stacked and cleared out these camps, they spawned again at the 3rd minute. So that's something I kind of wanted to reiterate. The next thing is, I like using Bloodright to kill these creeps here because they all die after you hit them one time each. The little mud golems, they're kind of tedious to kill otherwise because they are a little bit tanky. They take 3 or 4 auto attacks just to kill the little ones, and that's a tad bit annoying. So I don't like dealing with that, so I just cast Bloodright. Once again, you see the bounty rune there, but I'm not going to be picking it up. Better to leave it for your offlane hero. And your offlane hero, if first of all, just a little bit of a tidbit off to the side. If you're playing offlane, it's very advisable that you go ahead and pick up those bounty runes. You don't want the opponent's supports to go and pick up those bounty runes. So your offlane allies should be picking up those bounty runes when possible. Of course, sometimes you'll be coming around just as it spawns, and if that's the case, of course, you can go ahead and take that. So as you can see, we'll be hitting a level 6 here, just above the 5-minute mark, about the 5-minute 15-second mark here. And it's not like we just barely hit level 6. We have level 6 and a quarter of the way to the next level, and we have another camp here. And all the camps on the left side of the map have spawned again because of the 5-minute mark. But this is the point in the game where once you hit level 6, you probably want to be finishing up your treads here. You'll see me picking that item up. I also like picking up a clarity and a smoke, and then from this point on, you just can go ahead and gank. Maybe sometimes you want to be picking up something like a raindrop, so There are a couple items that you'll be wanting to picking, be getting once you hit level 6, but after this point in the games when you kind of transition to the mid phase, you do a little bit of ganking here and there. And that's about it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you around.